So the next important part is about rusting. Do you know what rusting is? Rusting is like this. You have a piece of iron metal. You leave it around, like you see the image down here. Okay, so you leave a piece of iron metal around or leave a piece of steel around, just lying around somewhere. Or it can be like your bicycle, which is paint is made out of a steel body like that. So if it's exposed to water, if it's exposed to air, you leave it around, lying around for some time, right? It will start to form this brown thing. And as the time progresses, this brown thing will increase. This brown thing is called rust. So it's a reddish brown substance and then it's called rust. Then if you want the chemical name, it's called hydrated iron trioxide. Okay, all right. So rusting, you say, is an oxidation, is a slow oxidation of iron to form rust. So oxidation is basically reacting with oxygen. So you have iron, metal, react with oxygen and some water to form this. So it's Fe2O3, then dot. This one is the water. Okay, this part is the water of crystallization, which I mentioned like many months ago. Water of crystallization. So this one we don't know how many molecules are there. That's why it's X. Chances of them asking you to balance this equation is quite rare. But they may ask you for this formula. I don't think I want to talk about this because this is redox. So I'm going to skip this for you. Okay, so what are the conditions for rusting? So this is a series of scenarios to find out what is the condition for rusting. So we have the first case. So the first case is like this. You have these are the two common setups you will see, like in questions or in exam, in tests, they give you drawings like this. So you have two diagrams, one on the left, one on the right. Okay, the one on the right says no air. So that means this is an empty space, there's no air inside, and the iron nail is thrown inside water. So that means this one has only water. Then the second case here, the one on the left, what happened is, right, boiled water indicates there's no air. Boiled water has no air. Okay, you with me? Okay, then you have air on top here, and then there's oil here. What does this layer of oil do?
It protects the air from going into the
Yeah,
boiled water.
yes, prevents air from going into water. So for these two setup, what happened is, right, they make the setup only contain water but no oxygen. So the observation for this is that there is no rusting in the nails. So we will infer that iron will not rust if there is no oxygen, but there's air. This is the first case. Okay. Then the second case, I took images from, okay, so this, right, left and right images, right, I took them from different sources where they ask this question. Then you show the difference and you get exposed to the different ways they can phrase the question of using different drawings. So the second case is like this. You see me with two drawings again. So the simple one down here, what they did was they just put the iron nail into a drying agent. So the drying agent, right, what it does is it removes water. Okay, so yeah, so there's air, but there's no water. Then in this case, okay, the second one, right, more elaborate looking. You have this anhydrous calcium chloride. This is the drying agent. Okay? Yeah, then you put the nail there, then you put a cotton wool, and then you put a stopper. So that means the stopper will not allow any external air from coming in. There's external moisture from coming in. The stopper just stop that. Okay, so then this condition is there's no water but there's air. Then what they see is, right, there's no rusting again. So which means if there is air and no water, it will not rust. This is what the second case is saying. Okay, let me go to the third one. So third one is just water and the nail like that. And then the test tube is open, so that means there's air also. So air and water is present. Then you see rusting take place. There's rust. So what this one tells you that there's, if you want rusting to happen or something along the line, so you need both air and water for the rusting condition to take place. Then I have a last one here. More special, what is different down here is you have a salt solution. Add salt and then you have water and then here you have air. So you have one more component here. So then you see more rusting take place. We compare with the earlier drawing. See this? And this. Yeah. So there is more rust. So down here, they will tell you that salt will increase the rate of rusting. That means if you have salt, rusting will become faster. Okay, that's what is going on. So if you want to prevent rusting, there's a couple of ways to do it. So there's three general ways of doing rust prevention. So number one is you use a barrier. That means you cover the metal with a protective cover. So like that, then you cover with something. So when you cover with something, then air don't go in, water don't reach the metal, then rusting won't happen. Then the second way, right, is to use a more reactive metal. That means they put a more reactive metal on top here or somewhere attached to that piece of metal. Then some rusting will miraculously not happen. Okay. Reason, what's the reason, we can talk about it later. So then the last one is using alloys. So use alloys like say stainless steel, then rusting will be lesser. There. So number one, you use a barrier. So the barrier, you see the barrier here will prevent water and oxygen from coming in contact. So the layer prevents air and oxygen from reaching the rust or steel underneath. Without air and water, iron or steel cannot rust. So if they ask why, this is why. The why answer is here. Then the other one, which is the use the more reactive metal. So they call it sacrificial protection. The coat iron with a more reactive metal like zinc. So what happened is, right, the zinc will react with the water and oxygen, and water and oxygen will not react with iron, so the iron becomes intact. It doesn't rust as quickly as before. So the application, right, is all this is more in underground pipes. You hang something next to the underground pipe so the pipe won't rust. Or you can find it in shipyards, where you find it in ships, right? Where they'll just place some zinc pieces or magnesium pieces. Then the ship won't rust as quickly. Yeah, I think. So I think I have some images of it later. Okay, the ship one, I think we have a picture later. Okay, so typical. If you want to use protection with outer covering, you coat something, right? So you have painting, oiling, greasing, plastic coating, thin coating, chrome plating. This one is more special. This is the one with the sacrificial protection. But these few all act the same way. So you can use the application here. You can just simply leave this part for your answers. I'm sure you know what painting is, right?
Yeah.
Oiling and greasing just means you put a layer of oil on the metal. Plastic coating means you coat plastic on top of the metal. Then tin plating, chrome plating, right? And zinc plating just means you cover iron with another piece of metal, a thin layer of metal. Then if you were to use alloys, just now I mentioned you use alloys like stainless steel. So then stainless steel is more resistant to rusting. So rusting will happen at a slower rate. So you have cutlery at home, usually made out of stainless steel. Then you have surgical instruments and then other equipments inside chemical plants, chemical factories, they usually use stainless steel. But just now, remember the zinc zinc layer, right? Zinc layer is the, so you zinc coating, you have a setup like this. You just dip the zinc in the iron into the molten zinc, then you take out, then that piece of iron will be coated with zinc. This is zinc coating or zinc plating they call it. Okay, so just now I say I want to show you the ship, right? So how they protect the ship is they place this one, you see all this?
Yeah.
So those are your zinc or magnesium blocks. So then when you put down there, right, if it goes into the sea and all that, zinc and magnesium block will protect the ship from being from rusting. So this is the image I want to show you.